Well, welcome, Councillor Tian. How are you, James?
Good morning, thanks, Dallas. Thanks, Dallas. Good morning.
I know, it's still early, I get it. Welcome once again. We have a few things to talk about, but can I start with our Independence Day?
Sure, yes, the event on Saturday.
Yes.
Yes, certainly. It's obviously, many listeners would know, it's the 20-year anniversary of de-amalgamation of the Delatite Shire, which happened on the 28th of October 2002. So this is a celebration of the events that transpired prior to that event and afterwards. So it was to be held in the Botanic Park originally, but because the park is too wet and the weather forecast, as you've just written out, is not sounding too promising, it's been moved to the Shire Chambers at 10 o'clock. That will start.
Okay, so doors open about 9:30 and
yes,
the event will start at 10. Now,
That's right.
I noticed you clutching a booklet.
Yes, this is the updated version reprinted version, of the 79th Shire, which is a publication by two of the movers in the de-amalgamation movement, Don Cummins and Will Twycross, which was written 3 years after de-amalgamation. It's just been put together again, reprinted, and it's a really good read for anyone. It's short, concise, and full of names of people who were prominent in the events that took place leading up to de-amalgamation. So that will be available at the
that's good.
at the meeting on Saturday. So it promises to be a really good event. There's a morning tea afterwards, and there'll be speakers that will go through and talk about the process.
Now, I wonder if the previous councillors from these times, will they be present?
I'm not 100% sure whether I know some of them will. Obviously, Don and Will be.
Yes.
But I haven't seen the list, so I can't actually tell you that. But more than likely, I think they will be.
Oh, good. That's good. Yeah, it was certainly monumental times, wasn't it? I know that the governments were not in favour of de-amalgamation. They wanted to streamline and get as many councils amalgamated to cut down on the number of shires or councils. And that was Jeff Kennett, wasn't it?
That was the Kennett government, exactly. And de-amalgamation worked to an extent in the metropolitan areas and the larger rural cities, but certainly the marriage between Mansfield and Benalla City was always destined to fail. So
we don't have a lot in common, do we? It's nice to start with. If you're going to align yourself with another shire or another city council, the commonality is what keeps you together. When you don't have that, it doesn't work.
Exactly, that's dead right, Dallas. And I think, there were other options that Mansfield explored prior to being lumped with Benalla, but they were not looked on favourably with the powers that be at the time. So anyway, it's a great read and should be a good morning on Saturday morning.
All right, so just to recap, the doors open at the council chambers at 9:30. The event kicks off at 10 o'clock. And just after that will be a morning tea.
Exactly.
Lovely.
Looking forward to seeing you there, Dallas, if you can make it.
Thank you. Now, which would you like to talk about next? The annual report?
Sure, why not? That's on the top of the list.
It is on the top of the list.
So, the annual report for 21-22 is now available on the council website.
I noticed that this morning, yes.
The first thing we've decided to do is not to print a hard copy, which has been done in the past. Hard copies could be made available if anyone had a request, but everyone sort of works off online nowadays. So, and it saves council a lot of money by not having to print these large glossy brochures. So firstly, it's on the council website, and I must say it's a really good document. It's very easy to read. It's long because we have to obviously put the financial and performance figures in.
Yes.
We're required to do that by state government. Then there's a section where we basically talk about how we spend ratepayers' money. And, you know, for any ratepayers that are interested in that, where their funds are going...
I think every ratepayer is interested in that, James.
I'm sure they are too, yes. Yeah, there's a very clear, concise, well set out document which highlights where we spent it and where we didn't. Okay. And it also talks about, you know, how we performed. And obviously the community satisfaction survey was pretty good for council this year. All areas showed an improvement. So it highlights some of those areas. It also highlights some of the areas where we need to improve. That did. It talks about, you know, what we spend on capital, what we spend on labour, etc., etc. So
yes, okay.
Yeah, probably two of the more significant things that are outlined in it are the retirement of the previous CEO, Kayleen Conrick, who did an outstanding job under very difficult circumstances, and also the relinquishing of aged care services to the Mansfield Hospital, which happened on the 1st of July this year, and it seems to be going reasonably well at this stage.
That's good. Yeah. All right. Is there anything that you wanted to discuss that needs that the Shire needs to improve upon? Is there something that came to light?
Yes, yeah. Of course, there's always areas where we can improve. No, that's right. Specifically in the document, I don't think the annual report doesn't highlight that, but certainly with the satisfaction survey, which I mentioned before, you know, we've got some issues in planning that we need to improve on. And we're quite aware of that. We've got an update on waste services coming through, what we're going to do there. So I think waste services has been good, but we're going forward, we're going to have to change that. Certainly our roads are always, you know, there, and the sealed roads will take a fair battering. Yes, from this weather event, so we've just got to be mindful about that. And but I think generally the outdoor parks and gardens and road crews have been working really well, so we're very happy with that.
Good. Okay. It's 8:15. My guest this morning, as it is every month, is Councillor James Tehan, Mayor of the Mansfield Shire. James, will I put a track on? Give you a chance to go, whew.
Sure. All right. Thanks, Dallas. That'd be good.
Your question, you can draw breath. Here's the Beach Boys. I think we should move on to the High Country Festival. And like you said before, with our independence celebrations, this can't take place at the park. Bit of a shame, really, but we have used Errol Street in the past for events. So this is on the 28th of October. Do you want to share some things that are going to happen?
Yeah, sure, Dallas. As you said, unfortunately on the 28th of October, on the Friday night, the fireworks would have normally been held in the Botanic Park, but they're at the Rec Reserve. The festival would have been held at Botanic Park, but it's been moved to drier ground at Errol Street.
Very sensible, really.
So that'll kick off, at about 4 o'clock in the car park there till 9:30. There's all sorts of food, drink, and events going on in Errol Street, and then the fireworks will kick off at the Rec Reserve around 9 o'clock. So that will be, weather permitting. Should be a great event.
It will. No, it's not allowed to rain.
And if I could just mention, to start the day on Friday is the mass breakfast on the lawns.
Yes.
So the Mansfield Autism Statewide Service will hold that, and that will be opposite the post office on High Street, starting at 7 o'clock until 9 o'clock. So that'll be a great event. There's also a trail ride out at the Delatite Winery from which kicks off at 11 and goes to the current mass site. So that will
very nice.
Yeah, they've got that going on today on that Friday, and then at 5:30 that evening is the opening of the Hospital Auxiliary Art Exhibition at the Masonic Lodge.
Love the Auxiliary Art Exhibition. Love it. They're always such diverse pieces of work too. really good.
Yeah.
And you didn't mention the Freezer concert. I really like seeing the young kids getting up there and having a go.
That's at
round in Errol Street.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. No, there's a lot going on there. That's for sure. And the Freezer concert's one of those. Yeah. On Saturday morning we have the Grand Parade as usual. The parade. So don't rain on the parade.
Definitely
it's
not.
the theme this year. The amphitheatre sound session, so the new amphitheatre, which is down the east end of High Street. There's a sound session down there. We've got the Mansfield Open Studio Trails Day on that day, so the trail around to all the art galleries, so studios. We have the art sale in at on the Saturday in at the Masonic Lodge. We have a bush market, of course, the bush market on Hyatt Street.
I think you should come every week when I'm here and do community announcements. You're doing such a great job.
And hang on, there's St John's Church All Faith, which is also on the Saturday as well too. So it's a fairly action-packed day for anyone.
I love the Spring Festival.
And then on, of course, the Monday is the Wetlands Discovery Walk. And culminating in the Marks IGA Cup Day races on the Tuesday.
Ta-da! There we go.
Get dressed up and get out to the racetrack, and hopefully it'll be a great event.
Out there.
Yeah, hopefully a dry track, but probably won't be a dry track for the horses, but hopefully for the
ladies in their stilettos.
Yes, that's right. Yes, will you be out there in your stilettos, Dels?
Oh yes, James.
Okay, all right. I'll keep a keen eye out for you.
No, I don't own a hat. It's okay. Now, I just wanted to quickly touch on the nominations for the 2023 Citizen of the Year. I know the nominations have opened.
They have, that's right, Dallas. Yep, they've opened. So for the 5 categories is obviously the Citizen of the Year, the Senior Citizen of the Year, the Junior Citizen of the Year, the Group Citizen of the Year, Community Group Citizen of the Year, and the Event of the Year. So they're the 5 categories, and look, if you or any of your listeners have got anyone they think they would like to nominate or worthy of nomination for any of those categories, please go onto the council website and it's quite straightforward. You just nominate them, and and then that's obviously just announced on Australia Day,
Very good.
2023.
And, nominations close on the 28th November, so you've got plenty of time to think about it. Cast your eye around and see.
Yep.
Now, I know we've got a little bit of time left. The Stage 2 heavy vehicle route, the widening of Dead Horse Lane from the Midland Highway and Mount Battery Road and Greenvale Lane is about to start.
Yep.
And James is busy pointing to me with his pen, going, this is on my list to talk about, but I preempted it.
Yep. So let's deal with the heavy vehicle bypass stage 2.
Yes.
So that is destined to go ahead as soon as the weather breaks. We get a break in the weather. Obviously, we don't want to be starting that sort of stuff now.
Yeah, that is widening the road, and in some cases it will be taking up footpaths and curbing, won't it, to accommodate the wider road?
Well, the 2 sections that we're about to do, it won't affect any footpaths because it's Mount Battery Road and the eastern end of Dead Horse Lane, so there aren't any footpaths there. Certainly it'll be gutters and drains, culverts, and widening of the road and resealing of the road. So that's right. Yep. So that will commence. We won't probably commence this section on Mount Battery Road until after the show because obviously there's a lot going on up there. So, but as soon as we can, and the residents out on Dead Horse Lane and Mount Battery Road have been pretty well informed by the council as to what's going to happen, and there will be minor delays at some stages. But hopefully we get a break in the weather and we can, because it has held up obviously the stage 1, which hasn't been sealed yet because it just got too wet, so that will happen as well too. And as a few of your listeners may have noticed, the guys from North East Construct Civil are working up on the corner of Withers Lane and Maroondah Highway at the moment, doing the turn-in lane up there.
Yes, I see that. Now we have only one more thing to talk about, which is slightly weather-related.
That's right, Dallas. It's about a grant that we've received from the state government for $500,000 for. This grant went to 24 local governments in the area affected by flooding. So Mansfield's been a recipient of that. So I just thought I'd give you an update on what has happened in terms of damage in the Shire.
Thank you. Yeah.
Fortunately, we at this stage, touch wood, haven't had any inundations, and obviously feel for our sister shires around the place that are dealing with absolute chaos. So, but we've had quite a bit of extensive road damage and some bridge damage. So that a couple of examples of the sidling out at Jamison. There's been a big landslip out there.
I was going to say Jamison had some impact.
Yes. So that's a project that'll take engineering and will be quite an expensive thing to fix. The Mertonyroa Road, there's a big sinkhole from where a tree fell over on the side of the road, so council will work on that. That will be quite a job to do. Trees down everywhere, Tolmy in particular, some out towards Merrijig, and we've obviously cleared the roads, but there's a lot of work to do on the side of the roads to fix that.
And of course we should acknowledge the work of the SES during all of that rain event, because they worked tirelessly. It was tremendous effort.
Yes, you're spot on, Dallas. Yeah, they did an amazing job out for 2 or 3 days. And in particular up around Tolmy. So they and what we'd like to do is any of your listeners or people, just if there is some damage on the roads, ring up the council and report it, because we've got guys out there, but we've got 800 k's of road to patrol, and we're not going to get everything. So I know the guys are working on culverts and drains in the low-lying areas today, clearing them out. And if people have got anything that they'd like to report, they can ring up the Shire, the CRMS reporting service, and list a job. So or report a failure or a pothole or a culvert or what have you. So so we're very fortunate to get some money from the state government, and so we plan on using that to get things sorted. And that's probably about it on the flood damage.
Excellent. Well, as you say, we've been very lucky to avoid more damage.
Yep.
But certainly I know that the roads throughout the North Central District were really particularly hit by the water. It was just breaking up of the surface in lots of areas. It's phenomenal, not to mention the huge potholes. I don't know if you saw pictures of people on the side of the road on the news, and they'd gone down potholes and blown tyres and cracked windscreens and...
it's
pretty drastic.
It is, and it's amazing how quickly it's all happened.
Yes.
Just after this really recent wet period. So people do have to be careful driving down the highways now.
Yes, very careful, and try not to travel too closely to somebody else, because you have to give people reaction time to avoid potholes and slowing down and braking and things like that. So
exactly,
just be careful on the roads. James, as always, it's a pleasure to see you. Thank you for popping in, and I will see you. Now, I'm not sure, it'll probably be the last meeting for the Shire, won't it, in November?
No, we'll have a meeting in December as well too.
Okay.
So we've got two more for the year, and then we don't have one in January.
Right, okay, all right. Well, I will see you next month.
I think it'll be a very busy agenda next month, so there'll be lots to report on.
All right. Lovely. Well, as always, it's very nice to speak to you. Thanks very much for popping in.
You too. Thanks, Dallas.
All right. My guest, as always,